Alright, hey, hi, hello, how's it going guys? My name is ZetaRayZod and welcome back to more Suzerain. Before I begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on so you stay up to date on all my latest videos. So last we left off, I can't remember. I can never remember what we did. Okay, yeah, right, I remember in the previous episode we focused more on internal and external diplomacy. No, actually focus more on external diplomacy. So we discussed which country we want to align with and how we want to deal with Rumberg. Because I remember we could either what's the word? Peacefully settle this confrontation with Rumberg, or we could have sent our troops. And I decided to release a statement condemning Rumberg. So every other country in the world will be watching and be like, hey, what you doing? You know? And then yeah, and I think I talked about aligning with Agnolia again, because Agnolia is on the border with Rumberg. So if they do get a little bit feisty, then Agnolia could kind of like come to our aid. But at the same token, if I do align with Agnolia, it's gonna be a problem with Valksland, and Valksland is pretty military is pretty strong. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes, So I'm just gonna continue on from where I left off. Barbecue Frank, okay. Gonna talk to my son, my angsty son. Saturday afternoon, first break from work, keep my mind, and I lit the backyard grill. Monica and Dina went out shopping for craft supplies, and I've given the staff the day off. It's just myself and Frank at home. I wasn't sure how he felt about me at the moment, but I didn't know how he felt about barbecued ribs. Cook had left some marinating in the refrigerator. Sure enough, as soon as Frank glimpsed the grill and the meat, he stepped outside to join me. Yeah, you can't say no to meats, huh? Come to spend some quality time with your old man, have you? Sure, if you can spare a few minutes out of your busy schedule. Soldier and talk back to their fathers, don't get dinner. No. I'm sorry, I know I haven't been around very lately, but I'm happy to see you now. It's okay, I know you've got the most stressful job in the country. You've got to feed your family on top of it all. We both chuckled. I turned to tentative flame. Yeah, like why would you be mean to your son? But I'm assuming that's like the dictator route. Here, let me try. You grab the fan and start quickly waving it over the coals. Fire roared to life. He turned to look at me with a grin on his face as if he was expecting praise. Good job. Not bad, son. Not bad. Thank you, sir. It is in our utmost interest to fulfill our duties with precision. The grilling should commence in exactly 1 minute and 32 seconds. That was a spot-on impersonation of Lucian. We looked at each other for a second and burst out laughing. I realized my throat was parched. There was a 6-pack of beer in the kitchen. Yeah, why don't you grab us a couple of beers? You're a grown man now. He looked at me in disbelief. You mean I can? But Mom told me. He stopped himself, quickly ran inside and returned 2 beers. We cracked them open, clinked the bottles, and gazed out at the city skyline. For a moment, my thoughts flashed back to my childhood and my relationship with my own father. How old is he actually? How old is Frank? He's not too young, right? I hope I'm not, like, giving a child illegal... Oh, they don't say, Frank. Yeah, they don't say how old he is. It's okay. My father was a hard-working man and always had our best interest in mind. Or at least that's what he always said. But he had a temper and would lash out at my mother in fights I could hear from my bedroom. Now I was president, facing more stress than my father ever had. Okay. Dad, can I ask you something? Your family can ask anything. It's just, I feel like there's so much you've been hiding from me. About your past, about what's going on right now. Like at dinner that night after the ball, you told me everything was under control. But it wasn't, was it? I know what happened in the 20s. We learned all about it in school. Now with the protests and the riots, is it going to be the same thing? Is there going to be a civil war in Swortland? I hope not. I mean, that's the truth, right? I honestly, at the moment, I don't know how I can stop it right now. I honestly do not. He let out a sigh, but what was it like back then? Uncle Peter said the two of you went through a lot. I'm not a kid anymore, you can tell me. Before I could gather my thoughts, the familiar images start flashing before my eyes. Images of soldiers advancing towards me and my friends, weapons drawn. People I knew. Friends and neighbors being dragged through the streets, murdered in alleyways. The shock and grief on the faces of fathers, mothers, and orphaned children. Those are dark times. It seems like it. But you're nearly a grown man, let's talk about it. Why not, right? He's gonna learn eventually. I don't see a... If he's curious to find out now, I don't see why we should prevent that from happening. Because I think he's almost a grown-up, right? He's like 17, I think. 18? But you're nearly a grown man. Let's talk about it. Frank leaned forward in his chair, his eyes wide. Let's talk about the coup. Time telling about the coup. It's barely older than you now. Studying economics in the Lakavan Business School. I was a freshman, excited and young. Just left the classroom to go back home as I heard the sound of multiple vehicles approaching the campus gates. As they got closer, I realized they were military camouflage tanks carrying hundreds of soldiers. The same soldiers that were supposed to protect Sortland citizens pointed their guns at us. They immediately took control of the facilities. One of my friends asked what was going on and was arrested immediately. More people got angry and gathered in protest. Yeah, I ran for my life. I ain't gonna lie. Seeing the crowd gathering, I knew something was gonna happen. Something bad. I decided it was impossible to go against armed men and ran away from the scene. Ran away from my friends who were getting arrested and shot to save my own dear life like a coward. Ooh, this is tough. Was it justified? Anyone would do the same? Or should I be ashamed of what I did? I think I would feel guilt, right? If my friend stood their ground and I ran away. I still feel my flight was shameful. I should have stood my ground. No one could sleep that night because of gunshots and sounds of boots. I can't forget the screams to this day. Frank leaned back in his chair, his shoulders slumped heavily. Now we'll tell him about the Civil War. Yeah, tell him everything. It's right after I met your mother. We had both joined the same human rights group to push for change after the coup of 27. But over the next year, the state of Sortland deteriorated. People started picking sides, and I tried to stay away as much as I could. Then one night it happened. Two different factions in the army. One of them led by fascist General Lutheran, and the other by socialist General Rijkaard. Started fighting each other. It's a bloodbath. Nowhere was safe. People organized protests either for or against Rijkaard. I heard about the clashes the next day. Many of my friends were shot or arrested. I isolated myself for months. That's enough for today. It's okay, I'm sorry. I should have asked you about it. I know I don't understand how easy my life is sometimes. One more thing though, I know that you managed to not take any sides. Do you mind if I ask why? Ooh, I don't want to be part of the violence. Raised his eyebrows. Curiosity is not satisfied, but sensing my reluctance to go on, he simply nodded. Sorry for bombarding you with questions. I don't know, I felt like that was like a legit answer. I know I complain sometimes, but my problems are nothing compared to what you went through. You're damn right. No, I'm here to listen to them, no matter what they are. Before Frank could say anything else, I heard the front door unlock. Okay. Alright, I'll be upstairs until dinner. Frank went in and dashed upstairs. I took a long sip of my beer. Wait, did he leave the beer behind? I'm not gonna get caught. Same nightmares again that night. Okay. Okay, let's read what's going on. Prison riot. Political prisoners. When a warden was killed by a bluish political prisoner. Oh wow, 4 guards and 21 prisoners died. This country's going to shit, man. Mayor Mora industrial outputs are 12% lower. Lose an additional 2%. Many members led by clarified the demands. Upcoming constitutional reform. Without ministerial reforms, they won't be able to stand behind the new reform package. Oh boy. It's a report that been going well. They've been already started laying down the foundations. Okay. Oh boy. Anything else? What does the news say? Attackers open fire. These guys are always picking school poisoning. Come on. Why the hell did you do that? The principal did it? Gelsor postpones future protests on democratic elections of Sortland. Upcoming government budget changes. Van Houten blames Vogsland for missing fishing vessel. Oh, they're fighting. They go and fight. Okay. Trying Narbel. I guess it's to Rural Development Forum organized by Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education. Okay, cool. I thought we were going to Narbel because of the Rumberg issue. Procurity tones. Poor cities hardy and wary. Discover years of neglect. Natural resources, namely gas and oil, now under the control of Gazprom, which elevate the corporation to a place of power. Damn it. Okay. Merely symbolic, fake smiles and handshakes, meet your local politicians, but most important of all, to make sure Narbel does not feel it was forgotten by the government. Okay. Many bumps and empty discarded spots. Motorcade finally started nearing the city. As if my discomfort from the bumpy ride is apparent to him, Sergei rolled down the partitioned window. We will be arriving at Hotel West in a few minutes, sir. Thank you for letting me know. Anytime, it's my duty. After a moment, started to smile on his mustache. How is life, Sergei? Sir, I just want to say it's been great these last 2 months. As you know, my wife Susan recently gave birth to our son, sir. Now my daughter just started a very good high school in Hosort. It's great news, Sergei. I'm happy for you. Yeah, I appreciate it, sir. Truly, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to afford a good private school if she scored less in the entrance exams. But I shouldn't have made my insecurity get to me. Erica outsmarts me all the time. I'm very proud to have a daughter like her. This is so mean. I don't value insecurity in my employees. No, I also hope that Dina will grow to be like her mother someday. I'm sure she will, sir. After all, she's the daughter of a lion and a lioness. Oh, you! My daughter looks up to the First Lady for inspiration, and it's not just limited to my daughter, sir. She's an inspiration for almost all women in the country. But at the same time, it must be hard for the First Lady as well. All his attention, adjusting to his new high-profile life, and a husband that has great responsibility. You're right, it is hard for her. Must be, sir. We sometimes forget the important people in life between all the responsibility and rush. You know, those we care for. I agree. Sergei continued after a moment of silence. Have I told you, sir? We named my son Georg. The doctor said he is very healthy, and thankfully so is my wife. Tell me more. What kind of person is she? Why did you want to tell me more about Susan? She's a good heart. Family comes from Sarna, so they are a little more traditional. Okay. I really like her selflessness. Sarna is a nice little city. Selflessness is a respectable trait to have. Sarna is a nice little city. The bazaar there is really unique and it's a good city. Nothing compares to Holsart, of course. He sighed. I already started thinking about university education, especially Erica. I want to send her to a good private school, but with the current state of the economy, it's going to be hard for us. Oh, I want to, Sergei, but I don't have any more wealth after that. Sorry, man. We will fix the economy one way or another. If anyone can, that's you, Mr. President. The car hit a major pothole and a bump which lifted us up in our seats for a second. We need to invest in infrastructure here. Are you fine? Yes, sir. I hope the car is fine too. The motorcade began approaching the hotel. Hotel West is supposedly the best hotel in Narbel. The large 25-story main building was undoubtedly one of the taller and more expensive buildings in the city. Towered over the nearby slums and had been a target for protests when it was first built. Yeah, okay. Carpeted Mayor of Narbel, his top aides. We don't know the guy's name, huh? The mayor. See you later, Sergei. Thank you, sir. Likewise. Aaron President flocks over to me. Excessive display of courtesy, smiles and handshakes while I don the mask of a politician. Sure. Oh, that's it? Oh, there's more. Is there anything else? Okay. Recent outlined in bans declared that without implementation of term limits and limited decrees, it would be very difficult for him and his party to stand behind a reform package. Term limits, I don't mind. I don't want like someone to be president forever, you know, or until they die. That's not, you know, like a limit. 4 years, you know, a term. Terror attack. They're still fighting each other. Get over it, guys. Okay. Ciara and Pascal. I don't think I've talked to these guys before. These are my ministers. Yeah, I have never talked to Pascal before. Minister of Health, ironically, somewhat importantly, having gained a few pounds since his breakthrough as a best-selling writer. Hold up. Is he qualified to be a Minister of Health? He served as a president, but that doesn't mean that he had a medical background, right? I don't know. Such a spectacular view. Ciara Walda, the Minister of Education, joined us on the balcony. Yeah. Spectacular indeed, but if you look in the opposite direction, you'll see what Seoul's decades of neglect did to the city. Most of the people living in Narbel are workers, farmers, and their wives and children. They're breaking their backs for close to no pay, all thanks to greedy corporations. Whatever. No. My intention is to help the working class. I'm glad we see eye to eye on the issue. If you look past the view, you can see the real problems. Real problems like poverty. Pascal nodded gravely. This is a subject he knew quite a bit about himself. His best-known books are about the plight of sorely less fortunate. Well put, Miss Walda. I don't need to tell you about my own experiences with poverty. I'm sure you have too, am I right, Mr. President? We've all got through difficult times. True, but some lives are more difficult than others, like ours was, and still is for hundreds and thousands in Swortland. You still don't have to be born poor to sympathize with the plight of the impoverished, much as you don't have to have been born a woman to recognize Swortland's need for parity among the sexes. Sarah's tone got serious. Isn't it time Holsworth addressed these issues, rather than bowing to the wishes of the hawks and fearmongers in the establishment, and diverting yet more resources to military and law enforcement? Our welfare, healthcare, and education systems have been decaying since the recession. Swortland's poorer communities are losing hope. Hopelessness and a lack of opportunities could drive people to extreme solutions. We're seeing increased crimes, domestic violence, rising inequality between men and women. If only we could stop. No. Capital must be prioritized now. These issues must be tackled from different directions. We need to engage it holistically. I'm planning by using an increased budget to improve the quality of healthcare. That could prove useful, but we need to be doing a lot more. Education has similar issues. There's another subject I want to mention. I've been working on improving the rights of workers in our country, and I've proposed a draft bill that is currently being reviewed by our party. Mr. Clavin has already backed me and gave his support. Swortland is falling behind most countries on this subject, and it is my responsibility to ensure that this is not the case. So there's room for improvements. Good to hear that you're pushing for it. I appreciate the kind words, Mr. President. I will always do my best to not let you down. It is also a matter of life and death. Every decade we hear of some horrific accident due to employees' disregard for their workers' safety. So would you back the bill when it arrives from your desk, Mr. President? To make a decision, I will need to evaluate the contents in detail. Understandable, you will receive all the sections and an outline. It's getting a little cold out here. Let's head inside and continue our discussions. Okay, small gifts for each of us. Let's start with a health overview, Pascal. Actually, education was what I promised, right? As you wish, Mr. President. Swortland has a free healthcare system except for a few private hospitals operating under it. Most of the populace receives adequate treatment. Health issues primarily appear in rural areas due to lack of quality services. I'm doing my best to ensure that citizens of all ages receive the best healthcare they can. I also personally want to solve the high infant and maternal mortality problem. How high is it? What's the life expectancy mortality rate? Our life expectancy is 65 years! And the infant mortality rate is worrying 85 per 1,000. Well, our maternal mortality is 90 per 1,000. That's pretty freaking high. Be assured that we're doing everything we can to save mothers and their newborn. Those numbers are saddening indeed. I agree, we must do everything we can. We're working very hard on improving the quality of the services. How many doctors and nurses are employed? We have 31.524 doctors and 63.680 nurses working for the Ministry of Health. This is a high number, what I think is. I don't want to be rude, but out of those numbers, how many are in urban and in rural areas? Good points here, Pascal. The data shows that per 10,000 people in urban areas, there are about 11 doctors, while in rural areas, there are only 3. Interesting. Treatment time is still too high due to the low number of doctors in rural areas, which get barely any proper coverage. Okay. How many hospital beds are there per 10,000 citizens? There are 10 beds per 10,000, which is a very good number according to our comparisons of other neighbors, okay? We see a lower number in the countries of Magnolia and Welland, but obviously can't match Lesbia or Valklin. Magnolia and Welland are hardly countries to take as standard, but it's good to know we aren't in a huge health crisis yet. Thank you, Pascal. Let's look at education. With pleasure. Swordish education is free, but we have a very outdated system that I want to reform. The other important issue is the lack of access to education in rural areas, especially for young girls. Your administration has the power to solve both problems. My highest priority is to get enough funding to be able to build schools in rural areas while I cleanse our educational system of its nationalistic indoctrination and sexist teachings. Cool. How many students and teachers do we have? Currently, there are about 5 million students. 3 million primary education, 1 million secondary, and 1 million tertiary. There are 155.316 or 155,000? Because I think that should be a comma then. Swortland's full of young and bright minds. It indeed is. It's full of potential. I think there needs to be a change in the way of thought. We should help children to question and educate themselves. What's the literacy rate? Literacy rate is at 80%. That's not too bad. It's a very good indicator for future growth, but it needs to increase. It's also far lower among girls and boys. If I remember correctly, the most illiterate areas are Bergen and Augenland. That's correct, although Lochhaven skews the statistics for the largest region, which also has a vast number of illiterate citizens. This underlines my point about the lack of access to education. Tell me about the difference between urban and rural. Urban areas have 3 times the number of schools per 10,000 people compared to rural areas. Rural areas also suffer from a lack of teachers. Oh, it's not a very good ratio. The situation is worse than expected. This is one of the most important problems we face, if not the most important. Each part of the population is forgotten in terms of welfare. Thank you, Ciara. I can fill in the blanks from here. I believe that's everything. What is it? Look at this impoverished city. Streets full of potholes, hospital barely functioning, the school half open. This is not just about Seoul or even Alfonso failing. This decay, Sortland's forgotten regions have been going on for many decades due to structural corruption which is fueled by capitalism. We're here to change that thread and to provide for... Pascal, what do you think? Sir, there's not much to be said. I agree with Ciara, but it is also Gus Manger's job to improve these areas. It's the responsibility of each and every one of us. Ciara stepped back down and sighed. One way or another, we need to transform. Greed and unchecked capitalism will not magically provide for the people. Well, tell me about your plans, Ciara. My plans require an increase in the government budget. I aim to solve the problems we highlighted with allocated money. By building schools in these less fortunate rural areas and through fundamental changes to the education system, I will unlock the potential of all our children, boys and girls alike. Election mandate was to improve education, and we will deliver on this. This brings hopes to the table. We need to be followed by action. There's much to be done if you are given the budget. There will be opportunities to implement policies that push education to the next level. Wouldn't a promotion of private education help create additional funds? Yes, but at what cost? I'm not supportive of the private sector in education, because at the end of the day, they're focused on profit first. How about you, Pascal? Personally want to improve the low quality of healthcare in rural areas, so I created draft plans to increase the salary of doctors to upgrade the equipment of the hospitals. I can do more of increased budget. Additionally, a privatization plan to promote private investments in the healthcare system can allocate extra funds. Isn't access to healthcare in rural areas an issue? Access is an issue, but not as critical as the quality in these areas. The lack of experienced personnel or equipment causes bad treatment, resulting in many deaths. I do hope to create competition to increase the quality of healthcare with the privatization effort. Seems like she's more leaning towards anti-capitalist, and he's more pro-capitalist. Because he wants to focus, he wants to work with privatization, whereas she's suspicious of privatization because she thinks it focuses more on profit. Which to a certain extent it does as well, because as a private corporation or private industry or whatever, right, you don't get funding by the government, I don't think. So you have to heavily rely on getting funding yourself. So I don't really blame private institutions or whatnot. The decision not to promote more state control would cost the people dearly. My expectation from our government is that we understand and focus on the needs of the people. Appreciate briefings. We are elected representatives of our people and we will prioritize their needs. It's reassuring to hear. I don't want to sound cynical, but almost all governments keep making the same promises. We must show we are different through our actions. I think we covered all the necessary subjects. Thank you for your time. I do hope you won't repeat the same mistakes again and again. Have a good day, Mr. President. Well, Uspi is out there cheering on us. Few sizes too large, did not even have shoes. There was hope in their eyes. Oh, but my budget is 0 though. Is there any way I can increase my budget? Oh boy. Decapitated body. Kirk Lenke, high school teacher. What? Member of Young Swords. Tortured. Come on, guys. How do I stop that? I don't know how to stop this. Okay, coal mine is collapsed. Death toll's 82. Jesus Christ. Education privatization proven successful. Shocking misogynist rally. What happened? Soul needs to answer for his crimes. Ooh. Okay. So protests appear calmer? Some say that, but I still see people dying here and there. Workers' right proposed by Albin Clavin and supported by Minister of Health Pascal Benoit It's being prepared. First draft review. Workers' Rights Act. Okay. But do I need to use my budget though? Kizara Kibener, leader, and appeals completely against any threshold reform. Specifically emphasized that it will lead to unwanted elements entering the assembly, and he's outright against any changes to the 10% threshold. Why? What's your problem? Investigation under influence of young swords and red youth organizations on a post-assassination unrest has concluded. Both organizations haven't officially organized or called for illegal actions, but several low to mid-level leaders from both have links to insightful actions that led to deaths, injuries, and instability. This allows us to ban the organizations. I'm not gonna ban them. I feel like if we do, that's just gonna cause more disorder because we're preventing them from speaking what they believe is right. Cause sure they're you know they're causing bodily harm and stuff, but at the same time we have to understand that these people do believe in their ideology. So imagine if someone shuts you down because you believe in something. You're not gonna like that. So I'm not gonna ban either of them, because I feel like that would be a terrible choice and that would just cause more discord. Okay, so walking to my office since today was the day to edit and make the final changes. Okay. This is gonna be difficult. Security, secretary, not security. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Olivia. How are you today, sir? Feel better now that I've seen you. Please, stop flirting. About to make stressful decisions, so not feeling that great. Sorry to hear. She paused before taking my coat and looked at something on her mind. Mr. Rain, can you give me a hint about your reform plans? If you ask me, taking away the judge's immunity is long overdue, but it might anger a lot of people in these halls. Nothing's been decided yet. Hope you keep me informed. I'll take your coat now. Not long after... I'm just thinking, that's a bit sus, isn't it? Where's she from again? Why does she want to know what's going on? Olivia. No, Olivia. Worked at hairlines, Assigned to Peter. It's kind of sus, but I'll keep an eye on her. Because the moment she asked me this, can you give me a hint about your reform plans? Like, why do you want to know? That's pretty sus, Olivia. Okay, not long after Peter, Lucian, and Nia arrived. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning. Time to finally get this proposal going. Peter placed the draft in front of me. After your modifications, we'll be starting the process. Can we go over each of the points that are in discussion for the draft? Well, apart from the first two sections of decreasing the Supreme Court's authority and limiting the presidential vetoes, nothing else has been agreed on unanimously. We could start talking about Section 3. This is about the impeachment process of the president. Currently, in cases of high treason and breaking the Constitution, the Supreme Court may impeach and try the president. Most reformers want the impeachment to be initiated by the Assembly. They think they do not have any power or potential rogue presidents that abuse their powers. Makes sense, right? Because you work for the government. If majority of you believe that the president's being corrupt, then you should have that right. Because Supreme Court, that's like only like what? How many people? 11? 9? How many people are there? Judiciary. 11. There's only 11 seats. Like it would be easier for like the president to corrupt them, you know. This law is particularly dangerous for you in this case. It will be going against the old guard, and if you prove to be successful in the assembly, they'll be looking for anything they can declare unconstitutional to tackle you. All they need is the Supreme Court to impeach you. What if we don't succeed? The court could have me impeached for this. Yes, they're trying to hit you since they're aware about the current wind of change, but we aim to cooperate with some of the judges to make sure that doesn't happen. We'll make sure the old guards won't control the court any longer, Mr. President. Section 4. This is regarding the appointment of ministers. Currently, the president is free to appoint anyone from the members of the assembly. Nobody else is involved with the process. There's definitely a demand to involve the assembly in the process. Yeah, we could introduce a confidence vote. Oh. Yeah, I guess a confidence vote, right? If you like my minister, vote for him, right? That's my suggestion as well. I'm sure the reformers would completely support that. The 5th section is about an infamous electoral threshold. Most reformers want to lower the threshold as much as possible. Mr. Rector and his PFJP definitely wants to see the change on this topic. They find a 10% threshold to be anti-democratic, which is something I also agree with. Yes, but that is a delicate matter. The party, and I mean not even Albin, wants us to change the threshold. They think that this would destroy a party in the long term. Not wrong. The 10% threshold is what that allowed us to control half the assembly with only a 30% majority in the elections. But the high threshold is the reason why storage politics have become so isolated. You're right. Even after Seoul's resignation, we still have 3 parties in the assembly. Even Mr. Kibbeter's NFP was barely elected. Don't forget that the Communist Party and the Workers' Party of Bludia both had close to 10% vote in the last election. You'll be opening their way into parliament in the future if you were to decrease the threshold. It's important that you realize this. Of course, that would also mean that USP might lose its majority in assembly, sir. If our own democracy is the reason of our downfall, we will have to accept it. Damn straight. I agree with you, Mr. President. Like, I mean, come on. You can't like hold a majority in the government just because of like a bylaw or like a policy, you know? You want to lower the threshold. You want to give everyone the chance to you know, be elected into the assembly. And if people like you, then it's good. You still retain majority, so that's on you. That's on you to figure it out, man. Section 6, this is about the presidential decrees. Reformers demand more limitations to the presidential's executive powers. Mr. Richter has demanded them to be completely removed. I've suggested to bring some limitations to decrees regarding their applicability. While we keep them, we should try to make sure that they will only be used in emergency situations. We could also make it dependent on an enabling act from the assembly. Sure, it'll make the whole process longer, but as long as we have majority, nothing really changes. I don't think presidential decrees need any reforms. No, we will work with the reformers to limit the use of decrees. Friends will probably demand that we remove them completely, but he forgets that Sorrel is a presidential republic. Next one is Section 7, term limits. Keep the unlimited terms. Term limits are necessary. I agree. Can't allow somebody like Seoul holding on to his seat for 2 decades again. Hey, people keep electing one person, that means they really are content. The masses are scared of change. Even Seoul knew he had to leave, but we'll leave it to the president to decide. Yes he did, but it took a long time. I agree, people should be able to elect the same person if they want to. Yeah, damn straight. Now I'll move on to the 8th section. We're reaching the end. It's a question about the immunity of the judges. While the anti-oligarch sentiment's increasing, there are talks that taking away their immunity would give us authority over the judiciary. I do not support taking away their power for yourself, Mr. President. The judiciary must be independent and long-lasting. While I agree that the current court members are problematic, there's no way to resolve it. The law is supposed to ensure the judiciary's independence by giving legal protection so they can't be pressured. Well, they need absolute immunity in theory, but look at what reality got us. We got to deal with the most corrupt chief justice in the world. No chance to deal with him. They both have good points. Because if we make them impeachable, then we're no longer making them independent. Because if, let's say, out of the 11, 4 of them disagree with our policies, we could impeach 4 of them. But at the same time, Peter is also right. Like, if they're corrupt, shouldn't we give them the chance to be? I think we should respect their immunity. I want them to be independent. This might be the best thing to do for now. If we agitate the court further, we might lose our chances with Mrs. Advent as well. And the last one is the question about Seoul's legacy. Basically, his member of honor law gave him absolute immunity even when he's retired. He's a permanent member of assembly as well, but luckily he doesn't really attend anymore. According to the Constitution, the member of honor not only has legal immunity, but the state also covers most of their expenses as well as providing security at all times. It can only be given to someone by an absolute majority vote in the assembly and the approval of the president. That's why only Tarkin Seoul has that title. He gave it to himself right after the military coup. So it's basically made to save the colonel and has symbolic importance for Scotland because of it. We must get rid of this senseless law that protects him. He should be able to face justice for the atrocities that have taken place during his rule. Every president. We should keep the title but take away the immunity clause. Yeah, I agree. So Okay, if I'm reading that right, that means that the state will cover most of your expenses as well as provide security, but we will not, they will no longer have immunity. I can get aboard on that. That will be enough to hold him accountable for his actions, but why would you want to keep such a title, Mr. President? Regardless of him, I see no problem with having a special type of great heroes. Well, regardless of what Mr. Rain decides, we will need to work together to push this agenda. Let's start working on the draft. Shit! Okay, here we go. President may veto a bill by returning it to Assembly with a written statement. The articles do not contain any information on how to override a veto. As a consequence, the President has an absolute veto power that cannot be overridden by the Grand National Assembly under any circumstances. The new Constitution will allow Grand National Assembly to override a veto with a majority. Yep. May not block. No. Yeah. Limit vetoes. Because if you give me a bill and I disagree, and you disagree with my disagree, and majority of you disagree with my disagree, then you can limit it, I guess. Constitutional amendment. Amendment may be proposed by members of Assembly of at least 150 signatures. 2/3 majority can vote in Grand National Assembly. Simple majority vote in the Supreme Court is required for the amendment. As a consequence, which is not part of the elected legislative branch, has enormous power. Oh, I don't have another option. I have to pick this. Remove Supreme Court's vote. Impeachment process. President Sorlo is not responsible for the actions performed in the exercise of presidential duties, except in the case of high treason or violation of the Constitution. In such cases, the President may be impeached by the Supreme Court in joint session with an absolute majority of its members. Therefore, the impeachment process only includes the Supreme Court, and it gives them great power over the executive. May be impeached with 2/3 majority in both the Grand National Assembly and the Supreme Court. Shit, I can't remember what I picked. Assembly? Supreme Court. Both. Right? Yeah, because if... Yeah, that makes sense. According to the Constitution, the President appoints ministers to the Council of Ministers from elected members. Oh, okay. Confidence vote. I don't want to, like, Grand National Assembly to pick for me. Political party needs a minimum of 10% of... Okay. Ooh, 3%. I don't want to go 3%. Let's go 8%. According to the Article 18 and 51, the President is able to issue decrees on political, social, and economic issues that would carry the force of law. Okay. They cannot contradict the Constitution and are subject to judicial review. Therefore, the President may issue decrees in many subjects without going through the Grand National Assembly. However, the Assembly may pass legislation on the same subjects to override presidential decrees. Will not be able to issue decrees that would carry the force of law without an enabling act from the Grand National Assembly. There you go. Term limits. 2 terms. There you go. Immunity of justices. I am not gonna do that. Because they should... Hold up. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I don't know. I want them to be independent. Ooh, this one. Abolish immunity of honorary members. Member of honor will no longer have absolute immunity. Dunzo. Oh god. Okay, here we go. After I made a final change of proposal, I'll show this to my team. Looks like the amendment's already been proposed. But I have to say this too. The new electoral threshold will be really difficult for the party to accept. Our guys are not fond of this idea. That's true, it would be tough to get all that support. Some of our members may try to openly fight against this. We'll figure it out. We'll do our best to make it work, sir. Any other comments before we proceed? I don't think I have any problems with the changes. Me neither. Looks like we can proceed. Oh boy. In the meantime, you must introduce the proposal to our party, sir. You'll need a strong speech to get it behind you, but I advise you to first talk to the leaders of both the conservative and reformist wings of the party. As far as I'm aware, Mr. Clavin supports the reforms already. Mrs. Tory will be the real problem. She became the real heavyweight after we left for the executive. Any advice to dealing with them? As Mr. Frankton said, Mr. Clavin will probably be easy to persuade. We need to unite the party on his, so his support is vital. Mrs. Gloria will be tough with the break. The problem is that she's capable of turning the moderates and the conservatives against us. As much as I don't want to say this, if she makes demands to change the proposal, we may need to give in. Understood. Wish you good luck with the party, sir. I think we can end the meeting here. Oh, frick. Do I have to do that now? No, right? Working, 150 signatures. Okay. What's going on? Richter's victory over Rain. What? This is Sorlin, huh? We gotta get rid of them. Benfee. Okay. Dinner of business council members. Should I do one more? Yeah, I think I'll do one more. Coven work with business council, assess the weaknesses in the economy. Simon organized a dinner, the affluent economic figureheads of Sorlin. Okay. Okay, La Cavendish didn't seem worried. Walter Tusk, Edith Aignac. Chairwoman of CBS, okay. Mikhail, NBC. Okay, Simon, I know Walter. Okay. Short blonde woman in bright pocket reads manager. Greeted us and waved his hands. Arms in excitement as he told us how pleased he was to have us in his establishment. Beaming with pride, he led us to a private room. Okay. Great. I recommend La Chavin Salmon, President. You have to taste the local... Oh, wait. I gave it a Boston accent, didn't I? It tastes a local delicacy here. Best in Scotland. Sure. Order La Chavin Salmon. Service took the notes. Oh. Should I get some rice or salad? Let's get some rice. Servers placed glasses in front of each of us and served bread and water. After they were done talking, they quickly left us alone in the private room. Mr. President, I didn't have the possibility to thank you for coming today. Your presence makes a great deal. Indeed, sir. It is an honor to dine with you. It's great to be here, the members of the Business Council. We should thank Simon for organizing this meeting. No need for that. I hope everybody enjoys the evening. Simon gestured at the expensive-looking red wine bottle that one of the servers had brought. Mr. President? Sure. Okay. It was bitter. Honestly, it tasted like any other wine. It tastes like any other wine. No, I don't know. Should I lie? Sour and delicate vegetable character. Is it Arcasia I'm tasting? What? No. Oh no, I tried to be cool. Maybe tasting the oak from the barrels. Or maybe it's the gooseberries. It's definitely not Arcasia, Mr. President. Walter's like, what? No. God, I embarrassed myself. I'd like to raise a toast to all of you here today. We remain here tonight in difficult times, but I believe that with hard work, cooperation, and trust, we will get through this period as well. I'd like to thank Mr. Rain for his decisiveness when it comes to economic policies. I'm sure we'll stop this recession. Of course, colleagues, none of you be possible. Let's drink to the future cooperation and growth for prosperous Sortland. Okay, meals. Walter's right. The place must have been the best place in all La Chavin. So how did you find the food of the best fine dining restaurant in La Chavin, Mr. President? Fine food's like fine art, but this particular one's a masterpiece. I know exactly what you mean. Art is something else. It embodies so much about us and the world surrounding our lives. And food is an art of everything. The art of making money, food, wine, and love. How are things going in the Maroon Palace? Pressure must have increased after you attended that funeral. It's tough, but I work on, pressure was already high. It did, but it was the right decision. Of course, I didn't mean to criticize your decision. After we conversed, he raised his voice. Arcasia knows the right ways of doing business. The approach to the world is real and raw. I prefer that cutthroat approach in comparison to niceties. Well, I mean, it's a nice country to visit too. I've traveled there often on business trips. Their attitude on all countries are nice to visit if you have the cash. Money doesn't turn the world around. Travel's the least you can buy of it. I'm gonna stay silent. I'm gonna listen in. It certainly depends on what you're looking for. Culture tourism doesn't require a fancy hotel. Last time I went somewhere for that sort of thing was at university. Even then, we had wild times thanks to Conrad's connecting entourage. Also, Walter's taking us down the rabbit hole again. By the way, I saw that underhaul construction has already started with the highway construction. Hopefully that project will bring new investments for Magnolia. The mood is already becoming positive. The relief package was also a great investment. It has already saved many businesses from declaring bankruptcy. I have to congratulate Mr. Rain for such major projects. Thank you for your support, Mr. Avon. Of course. Mr. Hall also deserves credit, of course. Our great economy minister. Is there a joke coming? Why? I thought you said you were a great economy. He laughed. I've heard that you brought a new villa, Simon. I don't comment on rumors, but I'll make an exception since you're among friends. It's true. You're doing a great job, so you deserve it. Where's the property? Small seaside villa at the outskirts of Conrad. It's just a modest house with a swimming pool and a small golf course. Wow, Simon! Jeez. Are you being sarcastic with me? Great city to buy real estate in, currently seeing a surge in investments. Yeah. Underhaul Construction made a fortune constructing houses there. Well, there's demand, there's supply. The market rules supreme as always. Put a hand over my arms for a few seconds. Come on, let's not talk about finance and politics for now. Came here to relax. Isn't that right, gentlemen? Okay. So, Mr. Rain, why don't you tell us what's behind that strong character of yours? I heard that you were brought up in the capital and experienced all the power shift as it happened. Is that right? Must have been tough. Try to leave my past behind, focus on today who we have become. It was difficult times in capital, but I've learned a lot about politics. It all makes sense now. Now about your family, Mr. President. How are they doing, if you don't mind me asking? You're doing great. We have no problems. We don't talk much since I became president. They're doing great. We have no problems. That's great to hear. Your son must be very proud of you. Well, family's everything. My family would be... Well, my advice would be to make sure that Frank has a solid relationship with you. It's your future, after all. He's going through the teenager period. It's difficult connecting. He's a little shy. Yeah. Wish that was my son's biggest problem. Darren seems to be doing fine. I saw that his yacht party in Benfey made the local news. Well, that rascal didn't ask for permission to use the yacht and just took it. He basically stole it. Good news is that I finally convinced him to go to university. He'll study economics in La Havre Business School. It's a good choice. Having a degree in Scotland separates you from the rabble, and we especially need more people who understand economics. Talking of which, it's great that we have another leader who actually studied economics and understands it, like Mr. Alfonso. Written dismissed because of him. Nah, I'll just say thank you. I hope we can repair the damages to our economy. We can't fail like Alfonso did. Correction, it wasn't his policies that destroyed him, it was the old god. What do you mean? He threatened the economic power base of the country through a vast privatization plan. They moved them back to after. Walter, stop with the conspiracy theories. I think we've had enough drinks. Everyone went quiet. After a long silence, followed by some chit-chat, Walter ordered a bottle of whiskey. It's a good-looking bottle. The waiters brought one of the finest Arcasian whiskeys. Simon, would you give a toast again? Sure. Stood up. He seemed a slight issue of his balance. May the wheels of fortune always turn in our favor. Future of abundance awaits us. Cheers to that. I think it's time to call it a night. Alright. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for joining us, and you, Simon, for putting all this together. For joining a bunch of ugly rich men. Thank you all for being here. It was great. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Moon was shining. Everyone except Walter left in the luxury cars. President, a moment alone, please. Called me inside the small VIP lounge. Ignore him and leave. Follow him. Usually the Lothar spokesman doesn't directly comment on the administration, but I'd like to say a few things since this was a special evening. Of all the years. Finally, a president that listens to the people. It won't be easy to pass the new constitution to the Assembly and the Supreme Court. We could help you get it through if you, in return, help us with a few economic requests. Consensus is that we see eye to eye in the economic direction you have taken by promoting a market economy. Glad that the group is supportive. It was calculated. There are many who put their trust in you. It looks me in the eye. You rejected our previous discreet offer to pick Underhaul Construction for the execution for the first mega infrastructure project. However, you still make the right choice. Your party not getting that donation is unfortunate, though. Why someone want that money is behind me. We are aware of the upcoming tax meeting, and it would be a step in the right direction if private corporations would get a tax cut. To boost the economy and job creation, of course. And the positive side effect would be our support to the administration throughout the entire term. I will make tax decisions objectively. I can't promise you anything. Oh, let's not be hasty. The recession will end if Lothar on your side, Mr. President. Why can't we all just be friends? Maybe we can. I'll see what I can do, okay? Excellent, good to hear this. The group wants a private corporation tax cut and privatization of... What? Completely? No. I'll give... No. Screw that. I have to reject. It's a shame I didn't offer you peace branch. Either way, Mr. President, we're here and always ready to work if you change your mind. Don't forget that. I'll think about it, but not now. There we go. Yeah. Jesus. Why does he always insist on bribing me? Okay. What? Budget allocation. That's gonna be tough. I don't have any budget. Car parked diagonal. Haha. RV exploded. No casualties though. That's good. A serious suspected of having been an active member of the Bluish Freedom Front. She's been sentenced to 60 years. See, I don't know if they're actually doing this or they're being framed. Because I don't know how corrupt my government is. But yeah, I think we made some good steps into progressing. So I will leave this episode here. It's gonna be so tough because I need to get my constitution through and I need to focus on my budget, which is 0. I'm not sure if it can go negative. I assume it can, but that might not be so good for us. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. In any case, if you like what you see and you like what you hear, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on to stay up to date on all my latest videos. As always, be safe, take care, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace!